So, there I was, lying on the roof of the vicar's boat, listening to him lecturing Billy G and Primo about redemption, of all things. The repercussions of our actions are remorseless and completely unavoidable, he was saying. The best we can do is to hold our hands up, admit defeat, and try to cut a deal. I felt some raindrops starting to fall on my head. I looked up at the sky. Why do we do that? Where else is the bloody rain going to be coming from? What did I expect to see? A woman squatting over me and peeing on my head? I pulled the collar of my coat up around my neck. If neither of you has anything to say, then perhaps I shall describe the landscape of our mythical journey in greater detail. We have a nice, friendly management company that is apparently 2 periods late in paying royalties to its artists. As he said this, Billy G, who might have been bored by all the preamble, gave him her full attention. I carefully wiped some of the raindrops off the hatch to improve my grandstand view. Nervous all the time in case anyone looked up. The accounts of this management company make interesting reading. The delay in paying their artists is not due to late payments by big, bad record companies, as may have been suggested. The company is in debt because it has paid huge fees to 2 other companies, both, surprise, surprise, controlled by the same single director who controls the management company. Billy G had heard enough. Are you saying that my royalties... The vicar raised his hand. Let me finish. Now I have started, I'd better lay out all the facts, unless anyone else would like to finish our cosy little bedtime story. He looked at Bremore, who remained silent. From above, I couldn't see the look on his face. All I had was an excellent view of a small balding spot on the top of his head and some suspiciously grey-looking roots. I carefully wiped the hatch again. Very well, children, continued the vicar. Let us use our imagination. Let us imagine that these 2 other companies paid this money straight into the ever-needy bank account of this director. It is impossible to tell if this is in fact so, as both these other companies are nearly 9 months overdue in filing their accounts and are no doubt incurring serious penalties. He again looked at Bremore. A motorboat went by, kicking up a large wash, which caused the boat to rock. They all looked up. I backed away from the hatch, trying to find something to hold on to. The cabin top was now very wet, and it wasn't blessed with such simple things as handrails. I gripped the edge of the hatch and waited for the wash to subside, wobbling precariously on the roof of the boat. The vicar resumed. What we must now consider is why the behaviour of this mythical director, which had until then, we suppose, been a model of ethical business practice, might suddenly become less straightforward. My trip to Scotland has furnished me with one possible reason. Still, Bremore kept silent. I pushed my nose right up against the hatch cover to get a better view. It would have been a terrifying sight if someone had looked up, a large snotty nose staring back at you. Some years ago, I had the dubious pleasure of attending a college reunion with my then manager. He leant over and pretended to spit on the floor, and a new colleague of his. Now, there was no doubt that he was talking about Malvolio and Bremore. A wonderful event for those who like old-fashioned ceremonies. You dress up in all your academic finery, including a large black gown. He turned to Billy G. Making you look like an overgrown bat, he explained to her. And there I sat, with the great and the good, receiving advice on how I might improve my financial situation. This new colleague suggested that I become a name on a certain Lloyd's syndicate of which he was a member. The Gooder Walker Syndicate. I don't know if you know how Lloyd's works. Billy G shook her head. No. The vicar wiped his hand on his serviette, reached behind him and placed a copy of a paperback book on the table in front of him. Ultimate Risk by Adam Raphael. It makes interesting reading, as recommended to me by Angela Barnett of the Financial Times. By becoming a member of a syndicate, on doing absolutely nothing, not even putting in an investment, you can earn a percentage of the vast sums of money that are paid in insurance premiums every year. Money for free. And the British are the most overinsured nation in the world, he quoted from the book. Once upon a time, smug fat men sidled up to one on shoots and smirked horribly. Just got the Lloyd's check. Very nice numbers. Pays for the wife to go to Portugal with her boyfriend, settles the school fees, and takes care of the cartridges. You really ought to think about it. The vicar closed the book. I declined. Fortunately, as it turned out, I have often remembered that conversation as I have read about the horrifying demands placed on the Lloyd's names and about how it has driven many of them to bankruptcy, even suicide. The problem with being an insurance underwriter is that when there are very large claims, such as the billions that are currently being paid out over health risks from asbestos, you are financially liable. And there is no limit to your liability. You can lose your bank account, your home, your car, even your gold Cartier. As the vicar said this, Bremer took his hand off the table and hid it on his lap. Such is the fate that has befallen many of those illustrious Lloyd's names. I again wiped the hatch with the sleeve of my jacket and peered up to the sky to see if Mother Nature was going to stop peeing down the back of my neck. A well-informed insider was kind enough to share his research on Lloyd's with me. I flew to Edinburgh to look through his papers. He estimates that the losses to each individual on the syndicate in question could have been in the region of, he paused for effect, £2 million. Fortunately, there was a loud intake of breath from Billy G, which was loud enough to disguise my own. Now, if our imaginary director were a member of these Lloyd's syndicates, one could imagine that the need to find £2 million might have caused a slight cash flow problem at the imaginary management company in question. He got up and cleared away the soup bowls. Billy G and Bremer sat in stunned silence. There is now an excellent tomato, basil and mozzarella salad, he said. I personally recommend these beans, but perhaps now is not the time for discussion on the importance of diet. Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. No meat. He laid a large, beautifully prepared dish in the middle of the table before again regaining his seat. It is possible that this entire story is inaccurate, in which case I have made a supreme fool of myself. Or it is possible that at least some part of it is correct. Either way, that is our starting point. I suggest we now all travel the road together to see where it may lead us. Alternatively, we can each carry on seeking the truth individually and present the facts to an uncaring, unfriendly world. The choice is yours.
That boy's not cool. He's got ears the size of a deer face, broken nose and a twisted face, with a voice that
Bond may be cool in situations like this, but most of us, I discovered, are downright awkward. I rolled off the cabin as quietly as I could, although from inside I probably sounded like a herd of pregnant elephants charging over the cabin roof. We were in there all night. Not that it's any of your business, but Billy, that I can have a solo career without you, can testify to my famously strong bladder. Unlike her, I have never resorted to peeing in a teapot.